Okay, so good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're tuning in from. You're welcome to this week's FX review with Great White FX for the 22nd to 26th of January 2022. So as always, we're going to start off with the economic calendar. Then from the economic calendar, we're going to start off with US 100, dollar index, Euro USD, GBP USD, gold, Euro pound, pound yen, and euro yen. So looking at next week, we have some high impact news lined up next week. We have some high impact news lined up next week. We have GDP on Thursday. No rate news, but rate news. We have rate news on CAD. That's on Wednesday. Monday is calm. We have rate policy on Tuesday for the pound yen, and some high impact news on Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be very, very interesting. So rate news on yen and CAD for next week. Then unemployment claims and advanced GDP for dollar index. There's also, yes, we have main rate news. So rate news on yen, CAD, euro, GDP, and unemployment claims for the dollar index next week. So that out of the way, let's go into the chart. So we're going to start off, as I said, with NASDAQ, with US 100, which is MT4 variation of NASDAQ. So this pair is in what you call uncharted territories. It's made an all-time high. To the left, there is nothing. On trading view, if you scroll too far, this is what you're going to get. This is the very beginning. You've made your way through all available data. We hope it was useful. So for now, this pair is still bullish. Since it has broken this significant high here, there's a possibility we're going to see a retracement before a continuation. So if we go into the daily time frame and put in our notations, you'll be watching this low broke this high and also broke this high that was made after this was broken. So as long as price stays above 16,557.8, it's still bullish. We have this daily fair value gap. If we drop to the 4-hour time frame, it depends on what price does here. We have this structure point here also. We have this structure point here also that might act as a kind of support should price come down. So we'll be watching this level. If price gives something like this, then you expect a move lower. Because this is bullish, doesn't mean if you get the bearish evidence, you cannot take a short position. So you can take a short position into here. But if this fails, then we'll be looking at price coming into this zone for the US 100. The next one we're going to be looking at is the dollar index. The dollar index was very interesting last week. But looking at it from the weekly time frame, the weekly finally closed bullish. But will this last is what I don't know. Because if you look at this, it's closing into a bearish order block on the weekly time frame. So even though this closed bullish, it is into a bearish order block on the weekly time frame. If we drop to the daily time frame, we have what looks like a short-term high here, which points to the fact that price may be returning on the daily to test this range. You see this weak candle here? If you notice, that was a candle that held price for 6 days before there was a breakout to the upside. So we might see a retest of it and a continuation to the upside. Like I said, if this continuation is to hold, this is going to be the projected move for this pair. Since there is a break, it might be going for 104.26. Since it has broken out of this range. So this might be the projection. As you can see, it broke out, got to half of the projection. As you can see it, this is half of the projection. Let me be sure I'm putting this well. Yes. It got to almost half of the projection and is pulling back. So it might pull back, then continue higher. So that's what we have on the dollar index. It's bullish, but we might see a bit of a retracement before a continuation to the upside. So with the dollar index having that, it points to the fact that the Euro USD, it's sitting, the Euro USD is sitting above this daily fair value gap here. So we might see a retracement into this bearish fair value gap, rejection, then we might see price moving lower. Because if you look at this, it's in a downtrend. This is a retracement to probably move lower. So the next pair we're going to be looking at is GBPUSD. GBPUSD is in a consolidation. If you look at it on the weekly, you have this big body candle here. If you notice, it hasn't closed above it. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just within the range of this candle. It's very, very clear when you come down to the daily. So this is just what you have on the daily for GBP USD, pound USD. It's in a range. So if we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, the possibility exists that price may still move higher. But as long as it stays below 27.86, this will still move lower, except it makes a new high. So you'll be watching to see what price does. We have this bearish order block here, that if price extends, it may try to move in here. So we might see a bit of a move up before a continuation back to the downside. The next we're going to be looking at is gold. Gold for now, if you look at gold from the daily, it's bearish. That's from this high. This is the daily range here. So it's within that daily range here. If you drop down to your 4-hour time frame, you notice that gold is making new lows, but not new highs. It's making new lows, but not new highs. So probably this is a retracement after sweeping 2039, 2013.39. So this might be a retracement to probably continue back to the downside. But on the 1-hour time frame, we have this other blocker. This move took out this entire zone here. So that points to the fact that this may still move up before continuing back down. So going into Monday, we might see an up move, probably above this high 2039 to probably this other block, this fair value gap, before a continuation back to the downside. So on the lower time frame, it's still running bullish. Then the next way we're going to be looking at is EURGBP. EURGBP is still bearish. It's still bearish. If you look at it from the weekly, I believe it may be coming for this low here. That's 85.50 this coming week. I believe this is where it will be coming for this coming week. If you look at it on the daily, you can see it has broken this low. If I put in my annotations, you're going to see what happened last week. 85.91 to 85.88 was a kind of support. So if you notice, price broke it last week, retested, rejected, and it's coming back there. So this is still bearish, provided it doesn't drop first. If it drops first to sweep this low at 85.49, then you're going to see a deeper move into this consolidation level here. So what I would prefer is a bit of a retracement to probably this fair value gap, a rejection, and then a move back down. But for the EURGBP, it's still bearish. So if you understand that the EURGBP is bearish, then that means that if the dollar index starts moving to the downside, you have a better option of buying GBPUSD than the EURUSD. And also, the weak Euro GBP would mean pound strength across the board for crosses. So if you have an option of buying maybe against the pound yen or euro yen, it's better you buy the pound yen than the euro yen. So we need to just be aware of that. So then the next we're going to be looking at is the pound yen. This pair is still bullish. It's still bullish, but it's at very, very high area. If we go to the monthly, let me remove my drawings. No, not the monthly, the weekly. If we go to the weekly, if we move to the left, we can see that price is within this area here. Hello? Can you guys still hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So if you're looking for this, if you're looking at this, this is where price is now. We have this unmitigated fair value gap on the weekly. So if we move and you note this 8.81, that's where price has swept it. So going into this new week, where this pound yen is, you might see a bit of a retracement before a continuation to the upside. It's still bullish. It's still bullish, make no doubt about that. But on the 4-hour time frame, your early warning sign that it's losing strength will be if you see, note this slope at 187.32. So once you get something like this, then you know you have a short-term top here. Then you might see a retracement. But this pair is still bullish. Any move down is going to be an opportunity to move higher, to probably fill this weekly fair value gap at 191.40. So the next we are going to be looking at is euro yen. Euro yen also is still bullish, still very, very bullish. It's still very bullish. It's filled up his fair value gap on the weekly. If we drop down to the daily, on the daily is where we have a little issue here. This 16125 to 16371 is a bearish order block. And that's where price is coming into. That was the origin of this entire move down. Although we didn't get a body close below 154.42, there's a possibility this may run into here. This may offer a bit of a rejection. Then price may move down. If price should move down, you watch 160.18 to 158.55 as a zone for long opportunity. So the pound yen is still bullish, but it's at an area where it might find resistance on the daily. So instead of trying to buy here, wait for it to pull back and engage in a long position. Any questions? Is there any questions or anybody want me to look at before we call it a night?
A question. I'm
Go
not
ahead.
clear on the gold. Do you mean that the gold is still bullish and not bearish?
Hold this. If you look at gold, like I said, each time frame has its bias. That's all you need to understand. If you look at gold, gold is making new lows. It's not making new highs. That in and of itself is bearish on the daily.
Okay.
But you must understand that whenever price takes out a significant low, a significant swing high or swing low on the daily, you're going to have a retracement. You're going to have a retracement. So if you're looking at this now, this is the strong high, 2062. So as long as this high, 2062.17 is still in place on the daily, this man is gold is still bearish. Now, because he's in a retracement on the lower time frames, he's bullish. Note,
Okay.
this other block here has been removed. So on the lower time frame, the buyers have strength. Probably they'll be trying to drive price into this area here. Do you get me? So on the lower time frame, what you'll be doing on gold, as long as this low 20.43, you don't get a body close below it, you'll be buying dips on this pair. Doesn't mean you can't
20.
sell this low here, 20.52.
Okay. That's
As
the
long,
strong blow.
yes, that's a strong low. As long as this pair doesn't give you a body closer below here, it's still going to be bullish.
Okay.
Any other question from anybody before we call it tonight? Okay. The absence of any question, thank you all for taking your time to attend. I wish you all a blessed weekend and wonderful trading week ahead. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, sir.